I'm going to say something very unpopular, and God forgive me. But sometimes I have had thoughts like, I wish I could like be deaf just for 5 or 6 hours. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what I'm doing here, please like and subscribe. Today we'll be discussing one of my favorite topics. So even though I had, all those moves and, so much chaos, I am grateful that I worked for a private practice in Western Cape, in the Cape Town, and the sole focus was neurodiversity. So that was really, really fun, and I learned a lot of things. First of all, I learned that my suspicions that I had autism were right. And people are going to be like, who diagnosed you? Me. I diagnosed me because I know what I'm going through. It's just only now that I'm like trying to keep a corporate job, eat healthy, keep up with appointments, that I realize that I also have ADHD. Both my brothers have ADHD. I've always thought it was like a boy thing, but no, girls can have ADHD too. So in the neurodivergence, community, if you have both autism and ADHD, it's called AuDHD. I know, so cool, right? But yeah, 5 things that happen when you are living with autism or ADHD or both. First things first, a lot of sensory sensitivity. I am extremely sensitive to light and to noise. My friend, who shall remain nameless, has a habit of watching YouTube videos at 2 times or 3 times speed. It feels like someone has taken a toilet brush and like they're just doing this in my ear canal. I used to have such big problems growing up because I'd want to sleep and people were watching TV and they were just so loud. Like, I really cherish silence. Where I live now, we're close to the highway, so I have to close the windows if I want to get good sleep because I can just hear the cars coming. Light sensitivity. I am aware that there's a ring light situation and artificial lighting situation, but I've also noticed that I struggle a lot with like LED lights. I've had to put stickers on things. I've had to get sunblock curtains. The one day I do wear my bonnet, sometimes I bring it up to my eyes just so that I'm in complete darkness, which is funny because I used to be afraid of the dark as a kid, but all these things persist somehow. A lot of people have different types of sensitivities. My friend, who shall remain nameless, she has very strong olfactory sensitivity. So like she can smell, this girl can smell everything. She is, often overwhelmed by strange smells. Do they give you a headache, by the way?
No.
Yeah, they just make her life hell, and like, I can't relate because I don't smell that well. She says though that like during COVID, when she lost her taste buds, well, her ability to taste and smell, that was the best week of her life. And I'm going to say something very unpopular, and God forgive me, but sometimes I have had thoughts like, I wish I could like be deaf just for 5 or 6 hours, because noise is really anxiety provoking. Other people are very sensitive with taste. I have that too. If I develop an attitude about food, it will make me sick. I will vomit, even though there's nothing in there that should make me vomit. So autism and ADHD are all about these sensory dysregulation issues. Either you're on one side where you seek out stimulation, you seek out sensory stimulation, or other side you avoid it. And obviously when you talk to the necessary professionals, they help you figure out what's what. So that's the one thing that sucks about having autism. Number 2, sleep. I said sleep 5 times. I wrote here 3 times. Sleep. 2 groups of people here. I'll talk about my group first. lots of dreams, lots of tossing and turning. Like I could, some days when I wake up, it feels like I've lived 4 or 5 lifetimes. And there are so many themes in my dreams. I always have superpowers, just by the way. And I'm often with my sister's kids, shouting at them for something. I'm just a very vivid dreamer. Have a lot of nightmares too. My brother has the other problem where he can pass out anywhere. Like he can sleep in his jeans while he is kneeling over a couch or his bed, and he can pass out for hours. So he's more ADHD leaning and I'm more autism leaning. So I'm really grateful to Western medicine for ashwagandha, trepolin, urbanol. What's the other one? Yeah, those sleeping agents, they help me so much. Another thing that sucks about autism is you need nervous system regulation all the time. You are constantly in the state of nervous system dysregulation. For me, it shows up as anxiety, depression, feeling irritable, and I can't really explain it, but it's almost like I'm overstimulated, but I'm also understimulated. Like I'm almost bored with all the happenings that are happening around me. So what I did is I invested in a massager, and this massager, I often massage my shoulders, and I try and reach far back as I can. I also do a lot of stretching. I love walking, especially walking on my tippy toes. That's so fun. Where we live, there's like a pavement, and then there are little segments where you can walk. It's so cool. They tell you where to step. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Okay. And yeah, I just need, like, before I sleep, I just need to like meditate. I went through a phase where I was listening to Sleepy John and rain music. Lately, it's not hitting the same. Even now, as I'm speaking, I'm like rubbing my thigh. So I rub my thighs, I rub my belly before I sleep. Sometimes I'll rock. Apologies to my bedmates. There are great tips. ChatGPT gives you great tips on how to make sure that your nervous system is regulated. Another thing that works for me is showering first thing in the morning. And let me tell you, because I have demand avoidance, I never want to shower. But it's the only thing that helps me. And so when you have a condition like this, you're constantly fighting your will to do nothing, because your will to do nothing is what's making you sick. But also doing a lot of things also makes you like it's impossible. We're just grateful for life. But yeah, needing a lot of nervous system regulation. Noise canceling headphones, what an investment. So because I have autism and I have ADHD, I have excellent memory and very poor memory, and they coexist. So you could tell me a story and I'll remember 1 or 2 details, and then 4 years later I'll tell you word for word what you told me. But most of the time I'm just really forgetful. I'll make a smoothie, and I bought a new blender. Make a smoothie, put the ice, put everything, and forget the protein powder, which is what the smoothie's all about. And this is my life. I forget things, I leave things behind. I'm the type of person who needs to be reminded, like, don't forget to take your mug to the sink. I just don't remember things. A friend who shall remain nameless often asks me things, and I'm just like, I never said that. And like, that's just my life. I don't really remember stuff, but I also remember everything. Not understanding social cues / authority. So this is a very big problem for me, but it's also not a problem for me because it's also a gift. So, in African families, you have to like respect your elders and all of that. And, I can understand, where that comes from, I guess. But like, I often say things that other people perceive as disrespectful. And I have this strong sense of justice. So if you're going to be sneaky, me and you are not going to get along. It doesn't matter if you're 60 or 70 or 80. Recently, my uncle, who is, by the way, a madman, crashed my car. And yeah, it's just been such a nightmare because I don't know how you talk to someone in a normal, kind way when they literally destroy your life. And his wife is also a nightmare of a person. And he called me once and he's like, Shika, the way you talk, it's like I'm not even your uncle. And I'm just like, yeah, that's what I've been trying to say to you. Like, you know what I mean? But, me and my gran. What have you been trying to say? That he's not acting like. Yeah, he's not acting like my uncle. He's acting like my enemy. And I've been trying to talk to him nicely, but he's not. He has an entitlement about the type of respect I should give him, and I'm not gonna respect someone who wrecked my car. Guys, I'm sorry. And someone who did it unapologetically, who has shown no remorse, who has not even sent gering 100 rand. You're sorry. So, I mean, this is someone I'm gonna have to snitch to the authorities. And I remember telling him, like, dude, you almost killed your whole family. There were just so many issues, and like I'm just trying to like explain to a man in his 40s that in case you were confused, I will make it clear. I blame you and I expect you to restore everything you've taken. And he said, what did he say? He said something so funny. But he's like, the reason why he couldn't talk to us for 4 or 5 days after the accident, it was the trauma. Yeah, he was too traumatized to, talk to us, the people he traumatized. Yeah, so, he just needed a break. And, yeah, people like that are so bloody annoying. And I'm not going to act like this is someone I respect, because everything they've shown me thus far is worthy of disrespect. I also find that I struggle at work, but because I work as an OT, OTs are a little bit more democratic. But I found that in the workplace, you can't speak to your boss or your manager or whatever in a specific way. I don't have that problem, but people say that they can't, like, that video where a lady is claiming she's homesick and she's got the microwave on and it's like all these beepings out.
Yeah, I'm at the hospital and I'm not going to be able to come in today. They're running tests right now. They're doing an IV, and I will let y'all know what's going on with me once I leave the hospital.
I feel like you should be able to tell your boss, like, I'm not well and I'm not coming in. End of story. You don't have to create a narrative. Also, social cues. Yo, this sucks, especially when I have a crush, because I can't let a crush develop without ascertaining, hore, do you like me or what? I really can't tolerate the not knowing. And that's why it's so hard to make new friends sometimes, because it's like, I want to be your friend. Do you want to be my friend? But like, adults don't really talk like that. Before number 6, the best thing about autism and ADHD is that you get to convince all your friends that they're autistic too. And you get your brothers to admit that they have ADHD, and you're just kind of like spreading the neurodiversity good news. Like, you are weird and it's genetic and you won't get better. Like, just live with that, and on one hand, it is validating to know that, like, all the issues you had as a kid where you didn't want to play with certain people, or you had this thing about naps, or you only felt safe when everyone was in the same room or the same house. You finally learn that those things are normal for autistics, and for people who have ADHD, not being able to concentrate, needing movement breaks, like it just comes together once you learn you have a neurodevelopmental disorder. I'm trying to make having autism look cool, but it's really the worst. And I mean, I was anxious 2 days before I had to go back to work. and that's not normal. And in the mornings I get so anxious, and like the moment I get inside the bus, taxi, Uber, whatever, it's just like, what the hell was I freaking out for? I do this every day. But in my next video, I want us to talk a little bit about demand avoidance. Demand avoidance is, you know, that chicken licking ad where like the orange ape, and like that's what demand avoidance is. There's an orange ape on your back every day, all day, that say, don't do anything, don't commit to anything. If anyone asks you a question, say, I don't know. All the time, every time, without fail. And so I suppose in this analogy, like therapy would be the chicken licking. So once you, yeah, but anyway, it's a messed up analogy. But demand avoidance is just feeling scared of anything and everything, and not feeling like maybe I should wash the dishes, since I do like having clean dishes. It's just a terrible thing. But there are a lot of tricks and strategies that I don't have, but I'm sure I can research and share. So guys, thank you for listening. I'd really appreciate it if people told me if they have autism or ADHD too, if they're medicated. I read somewhere that neurodivergence is 15 to 20% of the population. So, you know, and a lot of people are undiagnosed. So it would be interesting to know, what are your sensitivities? How do you sleep? Do you convince your friends they're also autistic? Do you rub your tummy and fidget? Okay, so forget everything, including powder in your smoothie. Do you understand social cues? How do you guys initiate friendships? Because I have friends, and I can't tell you how we became friends. Like, I can't tell you how we became friends. And there are people in my life where I'm just like, I'm close to this person, but then I realize I'm not. So I really look forward to hearing from you guys. Expect a lot more neurodiversity content, a lot more rambling, a lot more, what do you call it, brain rot? I'm kidding. No, not brain rot. But I want it to sound cool, but no, it's not brain rot. So I'll see you next week in the next episode, discussing a topic I haven't decided yet, because ADHD. Bye guys.